So hello and welcome to Rattlepike. Now, as you can see, we're out here on an absolutely gorgeous day. It's 17th March today, and we've got some fabulous weather. So while we've got this weather, we're out by the little conservatory that I've started working on. I've managed to find some materials around the farm, and we've made this little conservatory. And what we're doing while we've got this good weather is we're preparing for any disasters that might happen in the future. But if you'd like to pop inside, here we go. We've got I've just transferred all of these out of the potting shed that we've got just around the corner, and as you can see, we've got quite a nice little variety of, so this is all salad lettuce, and then we've got cucumbers, we've got courgettes, broccoli, cauliflower, climbing beans, peas, chard, French beans, kohlrabi, marigolds here. Nice selection of marigolds. We're going to plant those all the way around the outside. On this side, we've got dwarf peas that have come up absolutely beautifully. We've got more salad lettuce, thyme, aubergines, broccoli, pak choi, and some more cucumbers in the back. So this is just getting us ready to start planting out. We'll leave these in here for a while and see how they start to come on. Right. So here we go. Now we're going to have a wander into the polytunnel, and we'll see you in a second. So as I was saying a few minutes ago, we were talking about our backup plan for ensuring against any natural disasters. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty poor effort, but in a little while I'm going to show you how we're going to prepare for that. We're actually setting up a potting shed just outside of the gate, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. And we're looking at having probably anything up to 500 plants ready on the go, right? But as I say, that is going to be a little bit later on, but just keep watching. Now, from the polytunnel, as I mentioned in my previous episode, oh, and just before I show you this, we've also been collecting some fertilizer and soil from the bottom of the forest where we were earlier in the woodland. This we're going to sieve out, and we're going to be using that in our potting trays, and anything that's left over we're also going to be using on the garden itself. Now, I also mentioned last week when you spoke to me that I was going to sort some cold frames out. So here we go, these are the cold frames. So the first one's already been set up. We've got a bit of glass on here, ready to go. And basically this needs no more doing to it. So for hardening off, basically what we're going to do is we're going to put the trays in here once they've established a little bit more and get them used to the colder weather. And of course this is going to protect them, but of course, as you can see, they're not going to get very much irrigation. So we have a little irrigation system that is going to be set up running through here. You can already see that I've got hose pipes in position on the back, but we're going to extend this irrigation system through the polytunnel, through the beds that we've got here, through the cold frames, and we're going to send it into the polytunnel as well. Because basically we want to try and cut the work down as much as possible. If we can automate it, it's cutting down on hours and hours of watering where it's not necessary. I'm not saying that it's going to be perfect, and we're always going to need a watering can ready just to top up anything that looks a little bit poorly, needs a bit more water. But this should help us quite considerably. Now that's the cold frame sorted. Now, as you can see, this was the first bed that we started. We've already laid cardboard under this area, and what we're going to do now is we're going to carry on with this area and start clearing off. You can see I've already started a little bit of raking. I'm not going to dig it. All I want to do is just get it a little bit level. So we're not going to be putting the spade in too deep. All we're going to do is just get it nice and level, get all the stones off the surface, and then we're going to continue laying the cardboard and setting the beds out. Now, one of the things I've discovered as well is that it's important in this system not to use timber frames around the beds, because that encourages slugs, and we don't want the slugs finding shelter up against the edge of our beds. We want a nice clear runway, and it's also going to make it easier for us, less trip hazards, making it easier for us to get in and out and not have to step over frames, and of course a bit less work. Right, just a minute. So, as I've mentioned as well, one of the things that we've got to do, if you look at the back here, you can see that I've started weaving some branches in just to raise the area of this fencing where the chickens are. Because as you've just noticed, I've had to shoo one of them out off the top of the fence. So we need to raise the fencing a bit, just to fortify it a little bit and keep the chickens out. Now, as we were saying here, this area has already been prepared, partially, but we need to do a little bit more work on that. So, in terms of these beds, what we're going to do is we're looking at, so we've got a variety of plants that are going in. So we're going to have an edge along here where we're growing peas, but we're also going to need our bed. So we're looking at about 1 meter for each bed, but we want a little bit of a walkway in between so that we can actually get to everything without treading all over it and disturbing it, right? So we're looking at about 50 centimeters for a little walkway, peas and things going on here. Then say about 1 meter here, and then another little walkway of 50 centimeters, just enough to be able to walk through and get so that we've got enough room to be able to work from both sides of these beds. And then same again, another bed, another little walkway, another bed, little walkway. So we're looking at 1 meter wide each bed and about 50 centimeters, half a meter, just to be able to track ourselves up and down these little aisles. So that's that. Now the next thing to do is just crack on and get a little bit of work done. Thank you. So there we go. You've seen that it's taken us literally a few minutes just to rake over the soil and get rid of all the big stones and rubble and any bits of plastic that are in the soil. That is an absolute nightmare. We've got to try and get all of the plastic out of the soil where we can. But this is our first year at it, and unfortunately this ground has been badly polluted in the past. But we're going to do our best to make sure that that all comes out as we're going along. Now, as you can see, the first thing that we've done, as we did with this other bed, we've laid our cardboard down, and this is going to help suppress any weeds underneath. It's going to kill off all the weed roots, and it's going to just stop any light getting into it. Now we have one other area at the back here that you can see that we just lightly raked. Now this is going to be treated in a slightly different way, and this is going to be our pumpkin patch. So we're going to look at some kind of a membrane that we're going to put down just to help suppress the weeds, but ultimately we want something that's biodegradable, something that's actually going to break down and not leave plastics in the soil. That's the last thing we want. So we'll look at that as we're going along, but we've got a month or so before we need to worry about those. In the meantime, we'll probably put cardboard over this to help suppress the weeds, because we don't want to be fighting a stack of nettles 6 foot high in another month's time. So there we go. And then, as I was saying, what we need to do now is start looking at putting some compost on the top of these. And in our next episode, you're going to see us actually setting all these out and planting them. And in a few minutes, we're going to head towards the propagation area, and I'll show you what we're doing to keep our plants going and to provide more plants for setting out in this area. All right, so I'll see you in a minute. Right, so here we go. Now this is the soil that we've brought out of, the compost that we've brought out of the bottom of the little woodland we've got. And as you can see, there's all sorts of little stones and roots and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to put it through this 5mm sieve very carefully, very gently, a little bit at a time. I'm just going to sort it through, get out the lumps, and create some nice compost that we can start putting out and putting our plants in. There we go. One. Here we go. After literally just 5 minutes of sieving, we filled a 25-litre tub with this absolutely beautiful soil and compost mix. So it may have some weed seeds in it, but we're not too concerned about that. It's not what you would call sterile compost. It's a living, growing mulch that's been developed in the woodlands over the past 10 or 15 years. And a woodland soil has got so many qualities. There are all the fine microbial funguses and worm cast that has taken years for this to develop. But as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. And this is going to create some beautiful, it's got a nice little bit of sand in it as well, which I find interesting, because it's actually going to add to the drainage as well. So, enough talk about the soil. We're going to move this into the potting shed, and we're going to start potting out. Here we go. And it's literally as easy as this. A nice little handful on the top. So what we're doing is we're making sure that we're not compacting this soil. We're just making sure that all the cells are full, ready for when we put the seeds in, which should be anytime soon. You take that bit off the top and pop that back in there. So there's enough soil in there. Right. So the soil is nice and light and open, and literally you should be able to just pop your finger in and make a little indentation. That's all you need. So no effort whatsoever. Right? So it's not compacted. The compaction will come once it's been watered and the seeds have gone in. So here we go. Now, as you can see, we're in the potting shed, And I've already spoken about just setting out these trays. So while we're doing that, and while we've got this soil available, we're also going to be looking at the potatoes that we've got. Now, at the moment, we've got 3 varieties in here. So we've got the Morris Piper, we have a Melody, and we have a Red Rooster. Now, the Red Rooster, unfortunately, we only have one of these at the moment, but that's okay, because I'm going to get a couple of plants out of this, and I'll show you how. Now, these bags, we picked these up from Aldi, and they're literally £2 for 2 bags. And as you can see down here, we've got the first one there, that's open, there's nothing in that. So it's got a nice little bit of drainage in the bottom, which is excellent. Right? So the first thing you do is you're going to fill the base, just cover the base, yeah, and then roll the top down to this kind of level. So as you can see, we're only like a quarter of the bag full. So we've got a base level of soil. And then what we're going to do is I'll just pop this on here and you can see what I'm doing while we're up here. So we'll start off with the Morris Pipers because we've got plenty of these, right? And as you can you see how the roots, the growth nodules are actually starting to come out of this, right? And they're actually naturally heading uphill, right? And what we're going to do is we're basically going to bury these in the soil. And we'll position them around the outside. So we now have some more of the same. That's a Melody. That's a Melody. So we've got a few of those. And we'll find a few more. And what we're going to do, there we go. So we're going to position these in. There's another one. And we're looking at having about 3 or 4 plants around the outside of the bag. And that's going to give them room to give them time to grow. And as you've noticed, I've labelled all of these. Now, as you can see, they're in, and they're about 2 or 3 inches from the bottom. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to top this up with more soil. Go. That's our next level, and we're going to find more of these Morris Pipers. So now we've got a few more, and basically we're going to start our second layer. I'll place these slightly different position, so we're not stacking them directly on top of each other, but we're creating a bit of a gap in between. And then we're going to pull the bag up. I think that will be more than enough for that bag for the time being. So what's going to happen now is these plants are going to fight for the air. They're going to be heading upwards straight away. So we'll give them a bit of a watering, not too much at the moment, because the soil is quite moist. So they're not going to need too much tonight, but they're definitely going to need watering in these plastic containers. And it may be possible that we can get these outside in the next day or 2. And by the time we're finished, this bag should be absolutely rammed with potatoes. But what we're going to do, as the plants start coming up, we're going to continue filling the bag so that as the plant is coming up, right, and producing its leaves, what we want to do is stop the leaves, and what will happen is the leaves at the bottom will send out shoots and rhizomes, And from this rhizome underneath the soil, you'll get another spread of potatoes. So we're going to keep, as they're coming up, we're going to keep filling this up and allowing the potatoes to come up through the soil. We keep burying it, we keep heaping it up and allowing the potatoes to spread outwards in tiers. So basically we're stacking the potatoes and allowing them to go out. And we'll see how this one works. But of course we've got 3 more bags to get on with and other varieties, and we'll show you that a little bit later on. Thank you. Right, so here we go. Now this is very simply what we've done is we've placed our potatoes in there, and what we've done is we've put one of each variety that we're doing. Until we label these up, we don't know what we're going to have in here. So we've got, so this is our experimental batch. These are our red roosters in here. These are our melodies, and these are our Maris fivers. Yeah, and we're going to give them a good watering tomorrow. We're going to make sure we've got them labelled up, and then we're going to get them somewhere, probably in the polytunnel, so that they're watered regularly, and we've got a bit more space on our bed, and we can continue working. And as these start to shoot, once we start getting the plants going in here, we're going to actually raise the bags up. So you see how we've rolled these down. So as the shoots start to come up, once they've reached about this level, we're going to fill them up and just leave the tops of the plants, bury the rest of the plant, and we'll leave the top of the plants just showing above the surface. So we're going to, at the moment we're at this sort of level, and then we're going to fill to this level, and then ultimately we're going to be taking it all the way to the top to about this sort of level, and each time we fill it, the plants will actually react to that, and they'll start sending out more rhizomes, and from those rhizomes on the plants we'll get more tubers. So we're going to have a stack of potatoes here and here and here and right near the surface. The important thing, of course, is as well, you've got to remember with potatoes, if you don't keep them covered, if you don't keep the tubers covered and they go green, you can't eat them. They become poisonous. They actually excrete a poison, and that is there actually to protect the plants from predators. So any pests that might come in, the green plants are inedible, not only to us but to the insects and anything else that might attack the plant. So our very final level, once we've got this bag completely full, we don't want any tubers showing. We're actually going to put mulch right on the top, and then we're going to let these stand, we're going to let these grow, keep them watered with the mulch on the top. That will help preserve any water that's in there, and we're looking at between 100 and 110 days to harvest. So we've just started, and we'll see how we get on with these over the months, and we'll keep showing you the progress of the potatoes. Thank you.